I'm Joseph Menifee, and I'm arguing for capital punishment. What is capital punishment? Capital punishment is the legally authorized killing of someone as a punishment for a crime. I'm for capital punishment for the following reasons: deters crime, makes sure convicted criminals don't offend again, it's a penalty for atrocious crimes, takes away from the fame and enjoyment the criminal is fulfilling. As of 2003, 38 states employed capital punishment as a sentence. 12 states did not. And the U.S. is one of the only few countries left that still follows through with the death penalty. Here's some statistics I have. 2009, there were 5,851 executions carried out. China accounted for 5,000 and the U.S. only accounted for 64. In 2011, the U.S. was the only country to execute anyone. In 2009, China executed more people than the rest of the world put together. As of April 2013, the U.S. has 3,100 inmates currently on death row. California has the most with 731. According to a 2010 poll, 65% of the population are for the death penalty. And 35 states use lethal injection as their primary method. The reasons I'm for the death penalty: death penalty prevents others from committing similar crimes and copycat killings. When criminals sit on death row, their crimes are publicized, others see the attention the killer gets, makes the crime seem attractive. This also gives others the opportunity to learn how the crime was planned, targeted, and carried out. In the U.S., the average length of time spent on death row is 15 years. Some may argue this point because the execution for a death row inmate is 38% higher than it costs to keep the inmate incarcerated for life. Why waste our taxpaying money? I feel this gives us the opportunity to reform our appeal system. Inmates are given too many opportunities to appeal, taking away the time needs to be focused on their punishment. Our appeal system is too kind on the convicted criminals. They have too many rights while sitting on death row. If we execute more quickly, others will see how harsh the consequences are, will be discouraged from committing similar crimes. A thorough reform of our appeals process would free up as much money as abolishing the death penalty. Expenses could be cut while capital punishments retained. Some people may argue this point because what if they've been wrongfully accused? However, since 1973, over 140 people were released from death row with the evidence of their innocence. DNA testing eliminates almost all uncertainty as to a person's guilt or innocence. I feel the death penalty makes sure convicted killers will not offend again. When the prisoners are overpopulated, this can lead to prison crimes, riots, and other killers. Convicted killers sit around all day comparing new ideas and can escape and kill again, taking revenge on the victim's family members and friends. Killers also have free time in prison to make weapons and cause trouble. Some may argue this, and some feel that life in prison is actually worse than fate than the death penalty. I disagree. In prison, convicted killers get to watch TV, play basketball, eat meals, sleep on a bed, lift weights, see their loved ones. I feel the death penalty also provides a deterrent for prisoners already serving a life sentence. What's to stop prisoners who are already serving life sentences from killing again? They can murder hundreds of people, and then what? They get another life sentence added? It doesn't make sense. We need to execute them and stop them from killing again. I feel the death penalty model is an eye for an eye. If you like to kill, you should be killed. Some may argue this and feel this behavior is barbaric and violates the cruel and unusual clause in the Bill of Rights, and our society should move away from an eye for an eye revenge mentality if civilization is to advance. I disagree. I feel that people who are capable of these types of thoughts and actions should not have the rights that our future generation will be more civilized without them. I feel the death penalty makes sure criminals are not enjoying themselves while in prison. Execute them. Their victims didn't get to enjoy their life. They should not either. Some may argue this by saying this is too cruel because the prisoner's family must suffer from seeing their loved one put to death by the state, as well as having to go through the emotionally draining appeals process. I disagree. Why does our system care so much about the prisoner's family? They should know that their family member did a horrible thing and has to pay for it. We should be more concerned with the victim's family. The death penalty gives closure to the victim's families who already suffered so much. Life in prison just means the criminal is still around to haunt them. I feel the death penalty makes sure convicted killers don't live long enough to enjoy the fame that came out of their crime. Some of these have been made into movies, such as the BTK Killer, Craigslist Killer, Green River Killer, uh, The Perfect Husband, Lacey Peterson's story. All of those were made into movies. To summarize my presentation, these are my reasons. Some are for the death penalty, because it gives closure to the victim's family, creates another form of crime deterrent, justice is better served, our justice system shows more sympathy for the criminals than it does the victims. Here are some reasons that some are against them. Financial cost to taxpayers of capital punishment several times that of keeping someone in prison. The endless appeals and required additional procedures clog our court system. Life in prison is worse punishment and more effective deterrent. And it's useless as long as it brings the victim back to life.